Hi, everyone, and welcome to Panhellenic's second info session. Before we begin, and for your own safety, please turn your camera off in the case of a Zoom bombing. This info session will be posted on our YouTube channel in the case that you miss anything or if you want to rewatch our prior videos. We encourage you to follow us on Instagram at CalPHC and check out our website, which is calphc.com. Jessica, can you click the next slide? Thank you. All right. Today we will be covering what you can anticipate from recruitment, membership experiences, finances, scholarships, and what it means to be a member of our community. We will also be having another info session next week, which will cover diversity and inclusion, as well as a larger segment of questions and answers. Awesome. So hello, my name is Lauren. I am the Vice President of Membership. I'm a rising senior studying political science and journalism. Outside of Panhellenic, I'm involved with Bears for Biden. I'm also on the club swim team, and I'm also a freelance photographer.
Hi everyone, I'm Jessica. I'm the VP of Communications. I'm also a rising senior studying economics and media studies. Outside of class, I'm in Greening the Greeks, which is a Greek-based sustainability club, and I also do research for the economic department.
Hi, my name is Lacey Smith. I am the Executive Vice President of Panhellenic. I am a rising senior. I'm a legal studies major with a minor in human rights. And I am also a part of the Cal Dance team, unfortunately not this year because I'm graduating in December, but I have been for the past 3 years, and last year I was the captain.
Hi everyone, my name is Tamara. I'm the head recruitment counselor. I'm also a rising senior, and I'm studying political science and Slavic languages and literature. And outside of school, I love to go climbing. I'm also a freelance photographer, and I'm captain of the women's handball team here at Berkeley. Well, this year's gonna be difficult, but yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Mia. I'm VP of Scholarship. I'll be a rising junior. Besides holding my position on PHC, I play on the Cal Intramural soccer team. I volunteer at the Berkeley Student Food Collective and am part of the ski and snowboard club team. And I'm studying society and environment with a minor in public policy.
So to get started, Greek life at Berkeley consists of 4 councils: PHC, which is us, IFC, which is the Interfraternal Council, MCGC, which is the Multicultural Greek Council, and the National Panhellenic Council. The MCGC is a cultural-based organization and identity-based groups that include and are not limited to Latinx, Asian interest, and LGBTQ groups. NPC is Black Greek-lettered organizations, also referred to as the Divine Nine. They comprise of both fraternities and sororities. So what is PHC? We consist of 14 chapters, 12 national chapters, and 2 associate chapters. 13 of them will go through Fall Primary Recruitment, and all chapters, regardless if they have a nationals or not, have the same experience. If you'd like to learn more about each chapter, feel free to check out the chapter directory on our website. And PHC's pillars are listed here, which are scholarship, friendship, service, and leadership.
Awesome. Thank you for that overview, Jessica. So at UC Berkeley, we consider our recruitment to be values-based, which we define as one in which inclusivity, diversity, leadership, friendship, service, and other values that members of the Panhellenic community strive to embody are exemplified in all related activities. As you go through the recruitment process, the personal connections that you are making supersede any superficial aspects that may be commonly associated with recruitment. At UC Berkeley, recruitment is a mutual selection process between potential new members and chapters based off of your shared values. My biggest piece of advice to any potential new member is to make sure that you're being yourself, because that's who active members want to get to know. Awesome. Okay, so for this fall, we are transitioning to a fully structured virtual recruitment cycle. So what does that mean? We will be having all of our events and parties through Zoom, and they'll be hosted online. Chapters and PNMs will be using the platform Zoom to attend these parties. And as an undergraduate student at UC Berkeley, you have access to the Zoom Pro accounts, which you can find the resources at the attached link to this presentation. Chapters have been diligently working this summer to emulate the in-person experience through this virtual platform, through presentations, videos, etc. Potential new members will still have the opportunity to meet as many active members as they would in person. We understand that this is not the recruitment process that many of us anticipated. However, with that being said, all organizations and student clubs on campus must transition to virtual recruitment in order to be in accordance with the university guidelines, as well as to ensure the safety of our community by abiding by local, city, and state regulations. If the only thing that is holding you back from going through recruitment is the fact that it is online, I highly encourage you to still sign up. We will be recruiting virtually for the unforeseeable future, and there will not be another opportunity to go through primary recruitment until fall of 2021. Since not all chapters participate in continuous open bidding, which is a smaller scale and informal process. Your undergraduate experience at UC Berkeley is limited, and as a community, we are making the most of this virtual membership experience and through online events. Due to the fact that everything is online this semester, formulating friendships may prove to be hard for incoming students due to the lack of opportunities to formulate connections. However, Panhellenic guarantees potential new members immediate friendships and a community of support during these difficult times. In our next info session, we will be going into greater detail about how our community plans to run virtually, in addition to a larger question and answer section. Awesome, thank you, Jessica. Okay, and then to go over the recruitment schedule. So orientation is August 26th, and you will be learning the guidelines and the rules of what it means to go through recruitment. On August 27th and 28th, you'll be visiting all 13 chapters on Unity Day. On August 29th and 30th, you'll be visiting up to 9 chapters on Sisterhood Day. On August 31st and September 1st, you'll be visiting up to 6 chapters for Philanthropy Day. And then on September 2nd, you'll be visiting up to 2 chapters for Pref Night. And then to end the week of recruitment, you'll have your bid day on September 3rd. I'd like to emphasize that these are the maximum amount of chapters that you will be invited back to each day, and you are not guaranteed to go to the maximum amount during fall primary recruitment. It is very uncommon to get invited back to the maximum amount of chapters, so you shouldn't be discouraged in any way throughout the process. We highly encourage you to maximize your options and do not single intention pref. This way you'll be guaranteed a bid into our community. And just to reiterate, all events will be taking place over Zoom, and potential new members will not be allowed to visit chapter houses during this week under any circumstances due to social distancing and the Panhellenic community agreements.
All right, everyone. Recruitment counselors. So I'm sure you guys must feel really overwhelmed with everything going on right now and with recruitment in general. The process is super confusing, it's super chaotic, even in the best of times, which is why I have recruitment counselors here to help. As I said earlier, I'm the head recruitment counselor, and this aspect of recruitment is super important to me, into knowing nothing about Greek life or recruitment or what was expected of me. My family moved to the United States when I was really little, and I'm the first one to go to college in the United States, so I had no idea what was going on. I actually signed up for recruitment almost as a joke, like with my friends, and as you can see, I'm really involved now. So Greek life has made a huge difference to me in helping me honestly get through like the college system and work with jobs and stuff. I've had the big sister I never had in my real life, resources and opportunities I wouldn't have access out the community I joined. So I'm really excited that you're here with us. And you will be a recruitment counselor of your own, so please do not feel overwhelmed. You will hear from them before orientation. You'll be meeting them after your orientation, actually. They're your source for everything and anything you need. No question is out of bounds. We want you to feel comfortable with someone to talk to about your options. They are temporarily disaffiliated, meaning for now they don't belong to a single chapter. They are just women who are members of our community, and they're here solely for your benefit. To kind of make that point less abstract, we have a P&M Bill of Rights, and it's one of the RC's duties to defend that and to enforce that and support you all. So Our rights for the PNMs are the right to be treated as an individual, the right to be fully informed about the recruitment process, the right to ask questions and receive true and objective answers from recruitment counselors and members, the right to be treated with respect, the right to be treated as a capable and mature person without being patronized, the right to ask how and why and receive straight answers, reliable confidentiality when sharing information with recruitment counselors, the right to make informed choices without undue pressure from others, the right to be fully informed about the NPC unanimous agreements implicit in the Membership Recruitment Acceptance Binding Agreement, the AMARABA signing process, the right to make one's own choice and decision accept full responsibility for the results of that decision, and the right to have a positive, safe, and enriching recruitment and new member experience. There's a lot of things that go into making sure that all of those rights are defended, and everyone has a role in that. So all of this to say, we have your back, and hopefully you feel a little bit less alone in this process, knowing that. Thank you.
So now we'll hear from the experience of 3 guest speakers. All of these women are alumni from Cal Panhellenic and are here to share more about their experience. So first off, we have Paulina.
Hi everyone, my name is Paulina. I just graduated this past spring with as a media studies major and a public policy minor. I'm originally from Fayetteville, Arkansas, and some of the activities that I was a part of outside of PHC included I was a news director and a sports producer for Cal TV for a number of years, and was also involved with the senior class council when it came time for senior year. And then I held a couple different internships while at school. One of those years being with Professor Reich, working on his educational content that you might see on his social media. So right now I am job searching, and I actually just finished applying to graduate school, and I will be going to the University of Chicago for graduate school a couple years down the road. Still working on the job search part though. And while I was a collegian, I was actually a recruitment counselor one year. So I personally was really hesitant to go through recruitment when I was a freshman. Coming from a southern state, I had a very, very different idea of what sororities were, and I wasn't quite sure if that was something that I wanted to do. But after speaking with a lot of women in the Greek community, I felt that the one at Berkeley was quite different from what I had previously understood Greek life as, and I evidently loved it and didn't regret it at all. So when I was a little bit older, I decided to be a recruitment counselor to help women like you all navigate this process, because it is very new and very, very different. So I had found a home in the Greek community, as not just within my chapter, but also as a whole. I had a community of really family that was empowering and supportive and had travel buddies. So actually the picture on the far left is a photo with one of my sorority sisters. She and I met up in Seoul, South Korea while she was studying abroad there. So that was a really fun experience that I had outside of, traditional sorority life activities. And within my chapter, I held 2 positions on exec, and those leadership opportunities, first of all, really allowed me to be involved in my sorority, although that's not the only way that you have to be involved. But for me, that was a huge stepping stone into really getting to know the different women in my chapter and having a say in how our chapter was run and how we move forward. And also, as an exec leader, I also had opportunities to go to leadership conferences hosted by my sorority. I think most of the different sororities all have something equivalent for their executive members. And so in that process, I actually got to meet women from my sorority that were all over the country. And that was a fantastic experience. Got to travel down to Los Angeles and to Dallas for leadership conferences, and got to meet people there and build a alumni network that's become super, super helpful in the job search.
Thank you so much, Paulina, for sharing. Next, we have Christiana.
Sorry, I had myself muted. I'm Christiana. I, like Paulina, just graduated this past spring, and I was a double major in political science and English. So I'm originally from New York, from upstate New York, so don't get too excited, not the city. And so when I, came out to Berkeley, part of why I picked it was because we had a family friend who had done grad school at Berkeley, and I called her and I was like, I really do not want to join Greek life. Like, that's not for me. Like, do you feel like that's something that you saw a lot at Berkeley? And she was like, no, like, no, like, you don't need to join it, whatever. And so I actually SIR'd to Berkeley before I'd ever traveled to the West Coast. So I showed up at Berkeley having never stepped foot in California. I had no idea what was going on. And I was like, okay, this is great. Like, I'm going to just live my life, do my thing. And I found that college was super overwhelming, especially given the fact that I had no family and no friends in the state, even, on that half of the country, really. And so when I eventually joined Greek life, my roommate had, and a bunch of my friends had, and I was like, okay, maybe this is a community that could really be supportive for me. And it just completely changed my life, my life. It changed my college experience and really gave me a community. And so I feel like going through college during this pandemic, it's even harder to make connections. So I would definitely encourage joining Greek life, because I know in a regular year, it's hard enough to, find your place and your group of people and that home away from home. And for me, that really was my sorority. And, both the part-time jobs I had on campus, both of them I found through other sisters. So not only do you get this kind of connection of friends who are there to support you, but you can also find opportunities that way. And since graduating, obviously the pandemic has changed a lot of things. A lot of sororities will have kind of systems or I don't want to say plans, but different kind of opportunities where you can connect with alumni of your sorority specifically to get other career opportunities. And so that's also been really beneficial, because it just kind of helps you feel more comfortable reaching out, because I know Cal has alumni things, but there's so many alumni of Cal. It can be kind of scary to reach out when you have no real connection to them. So I found that being in a sorority was really helpful. And, just being from out of state, I included this photo on my slide here of me. The first time I visited SoCal, I stayed with one of my really good friends, and then one of my friends in my sorority, and then some other girls in my sorority took me to Laguna Beach for the day, and I had never been. It was really exciting. So it was really like having that family 3,000 miles away from my family that I would never have gotten otherwise. And so, after I joined and I got that connection, I thought, okay, this is great. This is all I'll do. But then, like Paulina, I ended up taking leadership roles in my chapter. I had 2 exec roles, which were so rewarding. And I think when you're going through each year of college in your sorority, you don't necessarily notice all of the skills you're building and techniques, I suppose, you're learning subconsciously that help you so much in the professional world and just life beyond. So in every possible way, it's rewarding. In every possible way. I don't know how else to say it, through friends, family away from family, and just all the life lessons and things you learn along the way. So I would definitely recommend trying it, going through recruitment, joining a sorority, because it, especially if you're out of state or you're coming from SoCal or anywhere where you don't have a lot of family in the Berkeley area, it can really make the campus that is so overwhelming feel a lot smaller and just help you feel a lot more comfortable.
Thank you so much, Christiana, for sharing. Next, we have Lubna.
Hey everyone, and Christiana, I noticed we took the picture, like we have a very similar picture. I think we both took it on the same day, the Cal Day 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was good lighting, so who can blame us?
Great, that was the best lighting day ever. My name is Lubna. I'm from Bethesda, Maryland. That's where I'm zooming in from. I majored in political economy at Cal. I did take that amazing class with Robert Reich, Wealth and Poverty. My last semester, highly recommend. It's one of the best classes I ever took. And I graduated in 2019, so last May, not this May, the May before. Outside of PhD, I was on Greeks Against Sexual Assault. I was on the senior class council, which meant I helped plan commencement, which was fun. I got to sit on stage in a tent and not get rained on, which was great. I also spent 2 summers at Berkeley. My first summer and second summer, I took like classes, which was so much fun. Summer classes are a lot easier. They're shorter, fewer people, guaranteed you do way better over the summer. So I highly recommend doing that. And also you have a lot of friends staying over and it's great. I also had an internship at United Airlines my summer before senior year at their corporate communications department. I also tell everyone, if you can work for an airline sometime over the summer in college, highly recommend. Free flights. You're probably going to be in a great city. I highly recommend doing that. I also had a part-time job at Marine Layer, which is a clothing store that 6 of my sorority sisters also worked at, which was a lot of fun, huge discounts. It's always fun talking about clothes with your sorority sisters, so I've just loved it. And now I am working on the Biden campaign. I am the director of students for Biden. We do have a Berkeley chapter, and I joined the campaign in July of last year, so it's been a year and a little bit, which is a great job. So the process of recruitment for me was really exciting. I was an out-of-state student from Maryland to California. I just wanted to be in a house. I wanted to be in Greek life, and I knew it would be very different at Berkeley because Berkeley is a very academic school. It's very diverse. It looked really different from the town I grew up in. I felt like I would be included and welcomed, and that's exactly how I felt. And I went in with no research or like overthinking. Like I remember people would ask me like, what house do you want to be in? And I like had no clue. I just wanted to go through it and see who I would meet. And I'm really glad I did it that way because I really got to focus on the women that I was talking to, their homes, what opportunities they had. And that really helped me find a more organic connection that I highly recommend you do as well. The biggest values that stood out to me were definitely inclusivity. And it was important for me to find a place that I could physically live in as well for 3 years. I wanted a place that was stable and felt like I was going to grow in versus like hunting for apartment every year and like being confused about who to live with. And so I also wanted like a housing option. And I ended up becoming vice president of my house. And so I like rewrote all of our bylaws. I got to make our semesterly calendar. I was in charge of all the officers and internal meetings. And so I had to be really creative and like engage people about things that aren't really fun, like bylaws, like who wants to talk about rules and regulations, but I just wanted to make sure it was going to be fun. So I built like this motherboard so everybody could get all of their resources, Google Forms in like one setting. So that was a fun project that I had. But I think in general, it really defined my college career in a really good way. I had a real home. That wasn't just a house. It felt like I was around a lot of amazing women, and it was honestly a once in a lifetime experience. It's also really beneficial to have sorority sisters that you go to class with. I was a senior and I took 2 computer science classes because I'd never taken one. And there was a sophomore who was like an assistant graduate student or like a UGSI, like undergraduate assistant teacher. And she would like help me with my homework, which was fun. Like there was no boundaries. You're all in a house together. You're all friends. And that's something that was really important to me. And I just got to meet so many other women when I was a Panhellenic delegate. So I just feel like I was able to go to other people's houses, like have brunch with other girls and invite them over to study hours. And it just felt like a really great place to be with a bunch of different women. The biggest thing that I would say is that the skills that I picked up during recruitment, like as someone who is talking to girls like you guys, and also by like hosting Greek events and by leading young women at my meetings and stuff, all of those skills that I picked up directly impacted my interview process at jobs and the job that I have now. The job that I have now is like national outreach of students. I literally talked to students and managed girls who are my age and younger all throughout college. And so everything that I learned, all the skills of being creative, flexible, like project management, directly led me to get my job now. I highly believe that. And I just feel like it's so much fun to be in a house. I understand how isolating and lonely it can be to be virtual. And so I feel like this is the perfect opportunity to meet other women and feel that like social bond. And I highly, highly recommend it. If you have friends who are nervous about going to school, especially online, I highly recommend that you invite them to one of these info sessions and just go through the process. You know, I had a sorority sister who ended up going through the process and dropping out, but then she ended up joining that spring to my house because she had just thought it over and thought, actually, I really missed out on a lot of stuff and I want to see if I can join again. And so I definitely think that, you know, life in general, college in general is like kind of a crazy experiment, and being in a house really helped provide a level of stability and comfort that was also very welcoming and inclusive. And I will just always tell people, you should definitely go through it. I have my email there. Feel free to email me and I can give more advice as needed. But thanks so much.
Awesome. Thank you to our 3 guest speakers for sharing. We hope that these stories will help you to understand that there's no one experience of a Cal Panhellenic woman, and hopefully it will help conceptualize what it means to be in a Cal sorority. So we understand with the COVID-19 pandemic, a big concern is finding community in a virtual school setting. However, we'll highlight both the sorority experience in normal times as well as in virtual times. But we want to emphasize to you that you should base your judgments off of the connections that you build during recruitment and not what chapters can potentially offer you in the fall. We also want you to understand that the bigger picture of the Cal sorority experience that will take up the larger part of your time in college. So it's also something that I wanted to highlight is that it's important to understand that while the social aspect of Greek life is what people traditionally associate, there's a lot more to that. As I mentioned earlier, the 4 pillars of Panhellenic are leadership, scholarship, service, and friendship, and I'll dive more into each pillar. So leadership being the first, as our amazing alumni mentioned, there's numerous officer positions in each house, as well as opportunities to sit on PhD exec. There's also a variety of Greek-based organizations such as Greening the Greeks, Greeks Against Sexual Assault, etc., and as well as networking opportunities. Our second pillar is scholarship. So we're all students before we are women in Greek life, so academics is very important to us. In addition to the fact that chapters have study spaces for both live-in and live-out members, we also have a variety of academic resources that our VP of Scholarship, Mia, will go into more detail in a later slide. Our third pillar is service. So philanthropy events, such as raising money through events, such as selling desserts, open mic nights, dance competitions, arts and crafts. These are all examples of events that we've hosted. Or in addition to that, chapters also go in and physically volunteer their time. The last pillar is friendship. So houses have membership development chairs that plan internal bonding events. Some events look like movie nights, cookie decorating, yoga class, anything like that. And then in addition to our 4 pillars, some things that I wanted to bring up are mentorship. So Bigs and Littles are a form of mentorship that can help you with advice on how to best navigate college, or career advice, or even not just 4 years of advice, but a lifetime of mentorship. On top of that, living in the house is a big question that we get a lot. So living in the house is not required. However, living in it is a great option given the competitive nature of Berkeley's housing market for off-campus housing. In addition to that, members of all years can and do live in their chapter houses, and some of the things that are included are meals, study spaces, and living in is not required. If you don't prefer to live in, you also have the ability to hang out, study at the house, and eat meals there as well. The last thing that I wanted to mention are PHC-wide events. So our VP of Programming hosts a variety of events, such as Giants Night, which is a baseball game. She also hosts like barbecue and basketball event, as well as Sister Mixers, which is basically a formal way of mingling with members of other chapters. And she'll also be planning a variety of virtual events for the spring. So speaking of virtual events, we got a lot of questions on basically how the fall will look like given that school is online. So we wanted to detail to the best of our ability what it could look like. So many of the events that I talked about in the last slide will still be happening, but just on a virtual platform. That being said, we've also had half of a spring semester online already, and chapters have come up with a variety of creative ways to adapt to this remote setting. I'll be walking through some of the activities that we did last semester that could reflect what fall might look like. So on the PHC side, we did Instagram live workouts such as like HIIT or yoga, where members of our community did like a Instagram takeover. And then on top of that, we also did like Sister Mixers virtually. Chapter-wise, chapters do things like virtual baking sessions or movie nights. And then as a new member, you'll also meet other new and active members virtually. So in terms of philanthropy, FILO events still happened last semester, even given our virtual nature. So one chapter had like a TikTok dance competition where they raised money, and then a lot of chapters also do Instagram fundraisers. For academic support, a lot of our academic support can still happen virtually, whether that be through academic resources or just studying with your friends on Zoom. Also, another big part of last semester was everything with Black Lives Matter and COVID. Education is a really big part of Greek life, and we're continuing to do so virtually. We recognize that the impact of the events that are happening in our world right now, such as the economic and health hardships with the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as the activism associated with the Black Lives Matter movement. Our chapters are continuing to educate themselves on how we can best support these movements and help, whether that be through philanthropy events, sharing resource sheets, or watching documentaries together. This is not an extensive list of everything that fall could look like, but basically it's a reflection of our spring that could reflect onto fall, and then VPMs and chapter officers are working together to share ideas. So for the most part, events between sororities will look fairly similar.
Hi. Okay. As I said earlier, my name is Lacey Smith. I'm the Panhellenic Executive Vice President, and I serve as Treasurer of Panhellenic. So I'm here to talk about the financial obligations that you will be upheld to if you end up joining a sorority. I just want to preface this with the fact that because we are entering a virtual semester and taking into consideration the coronavirus crisis, the numbers that I am giving you today are not exactly correct. And depending on how each chapter decides to adjust their budgets and dues for the semester, these can slightly change, either increase or decrease. But this is what like a normal semester on campus would look like. So if you want to also look for more chapter specific information, you can click that link in the slide, and it'll take you to like a breakdown of each chapter, which is really helpful. It's more specific numbers. Right now I'm just going to give you ranges of what the 3 different types of dues look like. So the first one is like the most general, or the second bullet point. I'm going to start with the live out member dues. And that's going to be for someone who's not a first year new member and also does not live in the house. And that's going to range from $2,500 to $3,800 per academic year, and you're paying that like once a semester. And there's also like payment plans I know in a lot of houses, so if you don't want to pay all at once, you can get put on a payment plan and kind of break those dues up throughout the semester, so it's a little less hard on the wallet. Your live out member dues are going to pay for social events, so you have invites and date parties, things like that. Limited meals in the house, sisterhood events, which Jessica talked about, house corporation fees, which are just to like keep up with the house and pay for like certain things that you also benefit from in the house, even if you don't live there. Study materials and textbooks and things like that. A lot of chapters have libraries where girls can like donate their textbooks, and then you can go check and see if there's a textbook you need, or like notes or study files or anything before you have to go and like spend your own money on it. So it's really helpful. And then also a lot of chapters do like professor dinners, where they have a nice dinner where you can invite a professor and have like some one-on-one connection with them. So live out member dues can pay for all of those things. The one that obviously applies to you guys the most would be the first bullet point, which is the first year new member dues. And that's going to be slightly higher than your live out member dues. So it ranges from $2,600 to $3,900 per academic year, also split in between 2 semesters. And that's going to pay for your live out dues. So everything that I explained before, plus your new member experience, educational modules, extra bonding events because you are new to the chapter, and also your initiation. And then lastly, there's your new member or your live-in member dues, and that's going to be the most expensive option, but also the most rewarding in the fact that you get to live in the chapter house. And that's ranging from $9,200 to $14,700 per academic year. And so while it seems like a lot, you have to remember that this is including all of those things that I talked about before with the live out member dues, plus your room and board, all your meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and like housekeeping and just keeping up with the house and things like that. So you do get a lot for that cost. And one of the great things about living in the chapter house is that once you break it down and take into consideration monthly rent and paying for your own food. If you were not living in the chapter house, it ends up actually being cheaper in most cases to live in your chapter house if you're going to be in a sorority. So it's really highly encouraged and also an awesome opportunity. It's usually sophomores and juniors and seniors. I actually moved in to my chapter house spring of my freshman year because I just couldn't wait to, and I just knew it was like the best option for me, and definitely saved me so much money throughout my the past 3 years. If you want to check a little bit more about like comparing those numbers, you can click on that link, and then once it takes you to that PHC website, there's another link that takes you to like estimated costs of housing for on-campus housing from the university. So you can compare the university's numbers versus ours and see how that kind of aligns with chapters that you're looking at. Again, I just want to remind you that these numbers are not exactly what we're going to be looking at for the upcoming semester, and they could be higher or lower depending on which chapter you join and like how they're dealing with the coronavirus situation. But we'll actively be updating that and keeping you as informed as possible, because we want to make sure we're very transparent with the financial burden that being in a sorority brings. But I can guarantee you that whether you join now or whenever you join, it will be worth your while and your money, and it's a lifetime of benefits, not just what you're paying for. So yeah.
Okay, so like I said, I'm Mia Thomas. I'm VP of Scholarship. And so if you do decide to join a sorority, there are quite a few scholarship opportunities available to you. Specifically under PHC, there are two: the new member scholarship, which is just on a nomination basis, just for new members. And then the larger one is the Panhellenic scholarship, which the application will open in October. And we conduct like interviews, and it's a really great opportunity. And then each chapter will also offer different scholarship opportunities. Each one like varies by chapter, and you can find out more information specific to each chapter on our PHC website, which I'm pretty sure is linked below. And then other things I do as VP of Scholarship, mainly is study tables. I feel like are the most helpful, which are bi-weekly and provide a collaborative study space for Panhellenic women. Usually they're held at like a different chapter every 2 weeks, but we're definitely working to come up with a substitution for that given the COVID situation. But just know like this is a super helpful opportunity or space to collaborate with people that are in your same classes, or if you just want to like block out a certain time, come like grab some food. Obviously, like I said, it's going to be a little bit different this semester, but we're going to work on that. And yeah, other fun things we do are like a LinkedIn headshot photo shoot. We'll hold some workshops like a resume booster interview workshop. We'll have guest speakers come. Usually there are a couple professors that will come, or just other people that are really cool to listen to, and have that space. We also do study buddies, which is an opportunity where we just pair you up with people in your same classes. I found this super helpful given how big Cal is and how big the classes are. Sometimes it's a little bit intimidating to like find someone to study with. So this is a super helpful opportunity to just like have someone's contact info and get help or collaborate on any projects or assignments you have. Let's see. Also, one thing I wanted to mention is that Panhellenic's cumulative GPA has consistently been higher than or compared to the all students GPA at Cal. I know that I wouldn't have done nearly as well in my classes if I hadn't joined my sorority, given like what I just told you about the different resources that are offered, but also like just within your chapter, little things like passing down textbooks, talking to older girls who have taken similar classes. That has been a huge help for me. I took math my freshman year, which is not my strong suit. And I got a ton of help from a girl that was older than me, which was super awesome. And in a big class, like I said, it's sometimes just intimidating to get that one-on-one help that you are maybe used to in high school or like that you learn better with. Besides that, I just want you to know that we're working on ways to make the semester the most beneficial to you. I know that it's probably very intimidating not being able to have the normal college experience for your first semester, but if you have any other questions, reach out to any of us. My email is linked on this slide. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have regarding scholarships or just academics in general. And yeah, that's it. Thanks.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so as we have seen today, there are many reasons to join Greek life, which we have gone over today and in our past info sessions. From lifelong friendships to networking and to helping transform Berkeley into your home away from home, our community has a lot to offer you. We want to reiterate today that we're continuing to find new ways in order to incorporate and to make sure that you guys are having the best new member experience as you join our community. And of course, our pillars of scholarship, leadership, service, and friendship will ensure that you will have a worthwhile experience in Panhellenic at UC Berkeley. Awesome. So first, I'd like to thank our amazing guest speakers who came today. If you didn't catch their emails, this info session will be posted on YouTube, and they are more than willing to discuss over email about their experience, whether it be about their majors or about their experience in Panhellenic. So feel free to rewatch this info session to catch their emails. I'd also like to thank my fellow members of Panhellenic Exec for coming to speak today. I really appreciate each and every one of you. And regarding the registration process for recruitment before we end, you can go to calpc.com to register for Fall Primary Recruitment, and it will be under the Fall Primary Recruitment tab. You must sign up by August 26th, which is the day of orientation. And we're very excited that this recruitment cycle is payment free. We're very happy about that. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to reach out to me at phc.membership@calgreeks.com. And I'm always here to help you guys in your decision to become a member of our community. And we appreciate each and every one of you for showing your interest in becoming a woman of Panhellenic. Thank you and have a good Wednesday night.